All right, let me just talk about programming 2 now. Obviously, we have got very less time. I'm not like really training right now. But do note that we do conduct classroom sessions, we do conduct online sessions like what we are conducting right now for all these topics. So right now, of course, we are going through it like very fast. But if you really like join the classroom session or the online session, we will like really go one by one. We will type the programs together, we will do activities, and believe me, things will be much clearer. Programming 2 is another course that will build based on what you have done in programming 1 course. And this focuses a lot on your data step. And like I was telling you, in the first course, we need to know the admin kind of thing. That means I know that, oh, I want to use this procedure. I have to write the procedure this way. I know that these are the functions. But in this particular course, we do deep dive. We understand what exactly happens behind the scene. So agree that I write a data program, data step I write, and I know that I want to create a new table based on some existing table. But after I type the program and after that I hit run button, what happens? So behind the scene, your SAS program, your data step goes through compilation and execution process. So how it will read from a particular table, how it will come up with a new table. There is a logic, and compilation and execution happens behind the scene. During compilation, what happens? During execution, what happens? All those nitty-gritties we will have to know when it comes to your data step processing. Now, point to be noted, this is an important concept here called as PDV or program data vector. So when your SAS program is getting compiled and executed, please notice behind the scene, there is something called as memory area, PDV, that is initiated, that's created, and the processing happens through this PDV, right? So PDV, if you attend any SAS interview also, you will notice that questions will be there on PDV. So what's like PDV and how does it work, or what does it do for me? This is an important concept here. What happens behind the scene? We must know that. And there are statements like output statements. Now this output statement, what you see here, now this output statement basically helps you to send output to another table. So I'm going to read from one table, and then I want to decide when the output will be sent to output table or another table, right? So there is something called as explicit output statement. So when I say explicit output, means I'm going to write. As a programmer, I will decide that when the output should be happening. But just like explicit, there is implicit output also, which data step will do on its own, right? So should I go with implicit? Should I go with explicit? What will be the scenarios when I will make use of explicit? All that discussion is important and it will be happening over there. There are certain very real life requirements. For example, I want to create, let's just say, a running total. I want to create a running total. So I want to, what is running total, right? Like 1 and then something like this. So you have got, let's just say, some number 1, and then next here you got 2, and then you got one more, something called as, let's say, 3. And then I want to do a running total. So this is like 1. Then the next row will be 1 plus 2, 3. Then the 3 plus 3, 6, right? So this is called as a running total. So how will I do this accumulation or a running total kind of a column, right? So that's also a discussion in programming 2. There we will be learning something called as a retain statement, something called as sum statement, and so on. And it's pretty straightforward. How do I get that running total created? Right? So there is some discussion on that as well. There is group-wise processing that you can do. So in fact, I can see that, let's say talk about weather, for example. So I want to find out in a month how much rain has happened. And assuming I'm a weather station and I'm recording like every daily rain, how much is the rain that happened every day. And then I have a data for the whole year. And now I want to group it by months. The January this much, February this much, which is a very common and relatable thing to do. So processing data in terms of groups. And how does that happen? Internally, what should I take into consideration. So if I'm using a by statement, then internally that by statement will help me to do grouping. There's something called as first and last, some kind of variables, system variables that get generated behind the scene, and I can toggle them, I can tweak them, and I can do data processing in terms of groups. That's also discussed over here in your programming 2 course. SAS functions and something called as call routines. We will do a deep dive here also. There are some different types of SAS functions: random function, largest function, round function, and then a variety of character functions, which will help me to do things like removing unwanted characters, or from a particular string I want to extract first word or second word or the last word. So how do I do that? I want to get rid of unwanted, like probably spaces, leading and trailing blanks, etc. There are several functions that we will have to know here. Strip function is there, compress function is there, scan function is there. And this scan function will help me to remove, the word, first word or the second word from a particular column. Sometimes this becomes necessary. So let's assume that you have, let's just say, address of a person. And I know that the last word is, let's just say, a city. And I want to create a new column that will just have cities of my customers. Then in that particular case, I will go ahead and make use of scan function, right? So these are character functions, deep dive. I was mentioning earlier that concatenation function, cat, catis, catx, we will have to know their varieties also, because each of them do something different. And I need to know what do they do. Some of the special functions, they're also called as type conversion functions, wherein I have got character data I want to convert into numeric, or numeric data convert into characters, because sometimes in your tables, the numbers are also stored as characters. But I want to treat numbers as numbers so that I can do some calculations and all in future. So I will be making use of functions like input or put, right? So input function, character to numeric, and put is numeric to character, right? So these type conversion functions also we need to know. Custom formats. I was talking about formats earlier, and I was saying that SAS provides so many of the standard formats, like dollar format is there, or date related formats are there. But what if they are not sufficient for me? I have got a specific requirement and I'm not able to see any SAS standard format that will fulfill that requirement. Then in that particular case, I would like to go for something called as custom format, and proc format is a new procedure that you will be introduced to here. So proc format means my own format, custom format. And I can just create this format once and for all. And not only me, our team members can also use it, right? So this is like your own formatting. You can format your data the way you want, right? And then, so for example, you've got a list of all countries or regions or something. But what I have is like a region code, right? So say, for example, country as, let's say, Thailand. So I just have TH. Or let's say country as India, I just got IN, or AUS for Australia, or AG, or ML, So it is just a country code. But what I want to display properly is a full name. So I want to display it as Thailand, or Australia, or Singapore, or India properly. Then in that case, my custom formats will be quite a good idea. So wherever it is TH, it becomes Thailand, and so on. So custom formats will help you to do these things. Very, very relatable and real life scenarios are discussed here for better understanding of everyone. Thank you.